space in their practices that would be unlike anything we would see in the urban setting. For example, one thing might be the likelihood that every time the physician goes to the grocery store or goes fishing, they're going to encounter patients that they're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Every day in their office, they're going to see friends. That every time there's a highway accident and someone is killed and they go to that highway accident or the hunting accident or whatever it might be, they're likely to see a friend, right? And so an urban physician will rarely see that, rarely face that kind of emotionally intense engagement with their patients, because
right.
their patients are not their friends or their neighbors even. They're moral strangers even sometimes. But that is not the case in the rural remote settings. They're very much moral neighbors and ethical neighbors and friendly neighbors in every sense of that word. So if we are taking this whole business seriously, we need to be willing to learn that. So about that and what it means when we send medical students at these very tender points in their career and their learning and their identity formation, because all learning contributes to identity. That's why the notion, to me, that's why the notion of reciprocal learning is so important. And understanding that another related term that we use a lot is mutual benefit. So recognizing that there is a mutual benefit through this reciprocal learning. In other words, it's very much of a two-way kind of benefit. There's a two-way of learning. The community benefits because they have this enthusiastic, bright young medical student who's out there trying to change the world, and bless them for it.
Yes.
A little bit more jaded, right? So the community benefits in that way. The community also potentially benefits, and if the program is working as we want it to, this will be the benefit at some point, because the students will come back and practice in these communities. And they are. The model is working. We're doing very, very well in terms of attracting people back into the rural communities at a rate of something like 94 or 5% if the student is from the north and does their residency in the north.
I would think that would be a very enviable metric.
Exactly, and close to 100% of those students come back, and something like 90% of the students admitted do come from the north, so they are likely to go back to the north. The program is working in that sense, so there very much is a reciprocal. There is very much of a mutual benefit to the communities who get these graduate physicians at the end of the programs. It just has taken a really long time. And that is something else that the communities probably recognized. I suspect at the beginning we must have talked about it, but for some of the communities who we are losing, because this is another part of the story you might not hear from most people, is that we are now losing communities who are saying, no, we don't want to do this anymore. Because it's a lot of work to have a student. And, 15 years later, they still don't have a position. So the promise of the program for some communities has not been fulfilled.
Okay. What might be some of the demographics of those communities who have, despite all of their best interests, have been seemingly unsuccessful at attracting and retaining?
I wouldn't confidently be able to answer that question. Some guesses are that these are smaller communities that may not be able to support another full-time physician. And so the graduates need full-time employment, not a locum here and there. So I think some of the communities are simply too small, and I think from a health human resource perspective, we need to have some different thinking in terms of how to support the communities. I was really struck give you another guess as an example. One of the reserve communities where the students could, I think I'm sure you know that the students in first year spend a month on reserve, living on reserve.
Yes, yes.
And learning that environment very intimately, which is lovely. And there's a reserve just south of Timmins. Every day, a bus goes from Timmins, from the reserve to Timmins Hospital, and comes back at the end of the day. So anybody in that community who is sick jumps on the bus first thing in the morning, and they go to the hospital, or they go to the family health team, or whatever they do. They get the care that they need, and they come back on the bus at the end of the day. And those of us who live in cities and have cars and whatnot might feel that that's really second-class service. That imagine having to jump onto a bus and get driven somewhere else. We might not like that. So there was a physician who was willing to go to that community once a month, I believe. And you would have thought that the community, I might have thought, I don't know what you would think, I would have said, oh, that's awesome. So this community that has relied on bus service back and forth every day, and on winter roads, that can be a bit iffy. Wouldn't they be delighted to have this physician once a month? Well, not so much, because they're saying they have this bus because they don't have a physician. So they can have a physician once a month. If you happen to be sick on that day, good for you. But if you're sick on any other day, you now don't have that bus. Because if you have a physician, you're not eligible to have the bus service.
Ah, I see.
So they did not want their own physician. They were very happy with this. But what we also discovered in sort of thinking about and talking with the community about this story was that the bus driver was the holder of all information relative to that community health. He knew everything. He knew when flu was coming through the area. He knew when Mrs. Jones was sick and needed a bit more attention, and he would just pop down to the band office and say, you know what, you guys should go over and visit Mrs. Jones a couple times this week because she's not doing too well. He knew everything. He was amazing. So there are local nuances like that if we are not committed to this principle of reciprocal learning and committed to this principle of mutual benefit, that we might take away things that communities value, like that bus, and substitute them with something that we value, the presence of a physician in the community, but the community doesn't because of what they have to give up. So it's not okay in the end, it turns out, for us to start being less involved with the communities, less committed to continuing professional education, all of that stuff, which I think we have, and we will get back to it. I have every confidence, because I think that this little school is just I think it's the most amazing place. I love it. So I don't want you to get the idea that I'm highly critical of it. But we're at a very important crossroads and some really critical learnings about distributed medical education and what it takes to keep that going. So for me, reciprocal learning, mutual benefit, valuing the community as teacher, as principles that have actions attached to them, i.e., we have to be in the community, we have to go there, we have to engage with the physicians, we have to ensure that problems that arise, and because they will, are dealt with, and that the learning that comes from really authentic dealing with an issue that comes up is used to improve everything, the other relationships. The other thing, the reason that I think reciprocal learning is such a key principle is that the the rural and remote communities that we exist to serve have different ways of thinking. So we have to own our own social and political and epistemological location and understand